Hey guys, title today is Pay Attention. I wanted to do this because of the book that I'm reading. And actually trainer Blake, called attention to this book with our team quite a few months ago. We've been reading parts of it out of there, but I borrowed it from him. Anyways, gonna be coming at you over the months of this year, and I'm gonna dedicate one Facebook Live a month to talking about sleep, the importance of it. Not what your doctor, your internist would usually just tell you is get some sleep, but actually tell you some of the amazing things that happen and some of the very startling things that happen when we don't get sleep. And this book actually was a huge wake-up call for a lot of us who, at least for me, for me, 6 to 6.5 hours is like, wow, I feel really good because I came from so many years of only doing like 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep. And so I'm like, 6.5, man, I am golden. And I'm still operating well under the threshold of what is considered healthy sleep. Now, healthy sleep, other than just, you're gonna live longer, you feel better, stuff like that. Guys, it's startling what they're finding on these 30-year research studies with people's bodies. And the one I wanted to say today, though, is talking to a lot of you, especially as parents, but this goes to you, but especially parents, right? When you're talking about your kids and sleep. Now, teenagers, we all know they have different sleep needs than most adults. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because everybody needs 7 hours, right? But the teenager brain actually tends to need a little bit more. And the way that they yo-yo as far as sleeping, 12 hours one night and this and that, that's their body growing. So we'll talk about that at a later time. But one of the biggest things that gets impacted so right away when we are sleep deprived is anything less than 7 hours a night. How many of you listening right now could tell me that you get 7 hours a night plus consistently, right? So I'm going to tell you some of the stuff that happens when you don't get it, and it happens quick. It's not, I just did one night and nothing should happen. It's one night not getting enough sleep, immediate consequences. So concentration, okay, which is why I titled this one, Pay Attention. Your concentration is immediately affected when you don't get 7+ hours of sleep. Just a really alarming statistic that they found, every hour in the United States, there's a traffic death related to fatigue, okay? And we all want to think that, that's when you fall asleep at the wheel. It's not when you fall asleep at the wheel. When you don't get 7 hours of sleep a night, your body starts to go through what they call microsleeps. Not to bore you, microsleeps are basically your eyes can be partially shut, all the way shut, but it's that little 2-second, I almost like just kind of blanked out, right? We all do those throughout the day when we call it getting drowsy, right? Where we start to kind of do that. Those are called microsleeps. They only take like 2 seconds. Put yourself in a wheel, in front of the wheel in your car. Microsleeps can be very, very bad. That's when you get into fender benders. You didn't see someone over here, whatever it might be, or it can be deadly, right? So talking about this, I just want to say that was a really an alarming statistic for me. So think about a microsleep. It's not that you're impaired. You completely are blind. All of your senses go blind. It's not just a vision thing. All of the body's perception to the outside world, all channels, go blind for a few seconds. That is crazy, guys. That's crazy to think that you're blind to the world for a few seconds while driving a car, and they happen repeatedly when you're not in good sleep, okay? All right, so the human recycle rate, 16 hours. What does that mean? It just means that there's a severe mental and cognitive physical impairment happens after you've been awake for 16 hours plus. All right, so for some people that are like, they get up at 4 a.m., they go do their thing, then they meet people out for drinks, and they don't get home till 2 a.m. Do the math, guys. You're severely impaired, which brings me to another test that these researchers did. They took a group of adults, and they got one group, okay, they separated them in 2 groups. One of the groups, they got legally drunk, 0.80 alcohol limit in the blood. One group, they sleep deprived for 24 hours. Well, they didn't even have to do 24 hours, really. They did some cognitive tests and physical tests on these 2 groups. At 19 hours of no sleep, the group that had not slept for 19 hours performed as badly same performance as the drunk group, legally drunk, okay? We're talking 19 hours of being awake with no sleep. You're performing as badly as someone who is legally drunk, all right? And the problem with that is when you're sleep deprived, you don't know you are. You are worse than the guy in the bar that says, give me my keys, I'm fine to drive. You don't know that you're that bad. So take note of that, all right? The other thing that was really cool about this was when they started actually saying, I told you that it happens pretty immediately. So it took 10 days of 6 hours of sleep or less, okay? 10 days in a row of that, right? Before you become as impaired as someone that does a 24-hour stint without sleep, okay? Let me say that again, guys. It only took 10 days of 6 hours of sleep or less. I'm a 6 hour sleep person. I'm kind of doing 6.5 now. I'm gonna be going to 7, right? But to be as impaired as someone behind the wheel or in life that hasn't slept for an entire day. We've all had that in our life where it's been us or someone else who has, you've interacted with someone who hasn't slept in 24 hours. It's like talking to someone who's drunk and you're just like, who are you? What are you saying, right? You're that out of it, okay? Less than 5 hours of sleep a night, your risk of a car crash is threefold. Scary, guys, scary, right? And less than 4 hours, you're 11.5 times more likely to get into a crash. All right, that's crazy for some of us that think that we operate really well on 4 to 5 hours of sleep. I used to be one of those people that said constantly, I only need 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Not true. My body had normalized to thinking that. I was dumb. I was walking around like an idiot, right? Because I'm only at, I don't even know, I haven't gotten into the actual statistics or if they say it, because I don't think they can really quantitate that, but how much I was at a deficiency in my cognitive and physical abilities. I think back and I'm like, wow, what could I have done had I been sleeping? And now that I'm sleeping more and more, I'm finding out that, man, I walked through a long period of my life really, really not operating at even 70%, maybe not even 50% capacity of what I'm capable of physically and cognitively. So, interesting fact, Guinness Book of World Records stopped recording the world's longest, or whoever could go without sleep the longest. They deemed it too dangerous. You can still, free fall from above the earth. That's not considered too dangerous, but they no longer record who can go without sleep the longest. So that tells you right there how, not even unhealthy, that's not the word, how dangerous, I'm gonna use that word, dangerous it is. And the really cool other statistic that I'm gonna leave you with is, let's just say you do an entire week of sleeping less than 7 hours a night. Okay, so let's just say you're even a 6 hour, 5 hour, one entire week. It doesn't even, you cannot catch that back up in the span of a weekend. It takes more than 3 full nights. So if you were to say a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you got into bed early and slept an entire 8 hours, both of those nights, 7 hours, whatever. You still can't catch up the sleep from 1 week of sleeping less than 7 hours a night. Those are some really dangerous statistics. But what really, I really wanted to share with you guys today, especially I was telling you with kids and young adults and people that you guys are entrusting behind the wheel, start giving them some of these statistics. One of the things that it said, fatigue, drowsy related crashes, car crashes, outnumber drug and alcohol crashes combined. That's staggering, right? So you think about the number of crashes in the United States, worldwide, whatever it might be. The ones that are caused by, like I said, back to the microsleeps, very few are caused by falling asleep at the wheel, are more than drug and alcohol combined. But yet we get hit constantly, right, with the drug and alcohol. What can happen if you're operating a car while you're under the influence? Super important. I'm not taking that away. But can you think about if we actually started to educate our children and everybody else driving around us? Most of the accidents that you will ever get in, witness, hear about, are due to not getting enough sleep. That's crazy because that is absolutely fixable. So we're going to be continuing down this path, guys, as we go through the months here. I'm going to be breaking out sleep at least one time a month because it's just so much stuff to tell you guys about. So share the news with everybody else. I'm going to put the book, it's called, I know it's backwards, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. But it's a fascinating read, guys, and it will leave you just jaw dropped. So I'm going to be putting in some comments here, guys. If you have any questions about this, fire away at the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And I'll put some of these statistics up actually in the comments so that you can share them at your next dinner party and sound really smart. So have a great week, guys. We'll see you later.